I realized one of my desires since I was a child. I was wishing to help people in need, and I had a big chance to join the Italian Red Cross Youth.
Bueno, vi la necesidad que realmente tenía la persona más desposeída. Vimos la necesidad que había mucha gente que estaban sufriendo, no tenía quien les socorriera.
J'ai commencé parce que je veux faire infirmière plus tard et il me fallait la FPS au début pour pouvoir faire infirmière. Puis ça m'a bien plu, puis ça me fait une expérience pour plus tard, pour mon métier.
You need many people to come to be a volunteer and help out the problems. So I think that this is the power of humanity.
The reasons why people volunteer to join the Red Cross Red Crescent movement are as varied as the people themselves. Men and women, young and old, traditionally the movement has attracted volunteers in large numbers, but over the last decade that has dramatically changed. Volunteer and member numbers in the late 80s were estimated to be 250 million. Today that number has more than halved to around 105 million. Why? One obvious reason is the huge increase in the number of other humanitarian organizations and social movements. There are about 30,000 NGOs today, compared with only 200 at the turn of the century, all competing for the services of a diminishing call of volunteers. Research suggests that a number of other factors have contributed to this general worldwide decline. Changing social structures, the breakdown of communities, the decline in church-going and the end of communism in the former Soviet bloc all have been cited as reasons for the continuing fall in volunteer numbers. But there are also internal Red Cross, Red Crescent issues to be addressed.
Prácticamente estos son todos los pupitres que tenemos para una escuela de 30 personas, imagínense, para poder atender y no tenemos. Necesitamos pizarrones, necesitamos maniquíes, por ejemplo, para enseñar primeros auxilios, anatomía, para prácticas de RCP, por ejemplo, un maniquí para practicar masaje. Y esas cosas no tenemos nosotros en Granada, lamentablemente. Pero sin embargo tratamos de completar lo que es el pensum de una escuela competente académicamente.
I know some volunteers have left or actually not happy in the society as they're not given credit for things they were done. And a lot of members are also frustrated in the sense that not enough credit is given to them.
Within the voluntary system that I participate in, it's very difficult to put your ideas across when the regional societies, it's very hard to get in touch with them, so your ideas normally don't get anywhere unless you know people in high positions.
The Federation has started a review process on volunteering in order to react to these concerns and to promote discussion on the future of volunteer work and its management. Current research in Western European Red Cross societies indicates that volunteers are looking for more direct feedback from their managers. They want to work with a high level of autonomy and participate in the goal setting of programs they are involved in. Many volunteers are professional people who give freely of their time. They don't see themselves as cheap labour or as being in competition with paid Red Cross Red Crescent staff.
Je serais, moi, disons, pas mal engagé. Je ne sais pas donner vraiment un chiffre exact, mais je donnerais une vingtaine d'heures par semaine de volontariat pour la Croix-Rouge, pour mon comité.
Commitment is the most important thing. And the next most important thing is your time.
Volunteers are the backbone, the very essence of the Red Cross Red Crescent movement. They need to feel involved, to feel part of an organisation that recognises the commitment they have made and the work they do on its behalf. Education and training needs to be seen as a vital part of that process, not only as a reward, but also to help nurture and develop volunteers. At present, only a small number of volunteers have access to international programs, such as staff exchange, language training or internships in other national societies.
Geneva could help out with having like courses, more trainings on a national level or international exchange programs, more exchange programs. Now if the national societies do that, maybe Geneva could help in to create more of these exchange programs.
Today, more and more volunteers use Red Cross work to develop skills which they can use in their jobs, to help solve their own problems, or to build up a strong network of friends and peers.
J'ai fait la profession de contrôleur aérien pendant 35 ans. C'est une profession stressante, intéressante et qui offre l'avantage, si on peut dire, de pouvoir partir, prendre sa retraite à 55 ans. Et 55 ans, c'est un bel âge, mais il faut s'occuper. Et je me suis dit que c'était le moment de découvrir de nouveaux paysages, de nouveaux visages.
In many cases, volunteers gain a great deal from their Red Cross experiences. Unemployed volunteers develop work-related skills, and many beneficiaries become volunteers themselves. Trained volunteers become a skilled resource for their communities and play a significant role in many local health education programs. But globally, fewer volunteers want to become permanent or formal members of what they consider to be bureaucratic and often anonymous Red Cross structures.
I think if you want to attract and encourage new volunteers, you have to have meaningful projects that make a difference. If those projects are meaningful and they make a difference, and you tell people about it, and you ask people if they want to volunteer for it, they'll come forward to do it. If they don't believe in the project, or if it's not a meaningful project, they won't volunteer.
If the Federation wants to promote volunteering during the next decade as part of its Strategy 2010, it needs to look closely at regional traditions and concepts of volunteering. National societies need to share experiences, ideas and concepts through the regional delegations. And the movement as a whole must take a broader view and work more closely with other organizations and networks, like the International Association for Volunteer Effort.
I agree that the change is now the mode of the day, and that the economy, the market, the relationship between the different sectors, between the state, between civil society, between the corporate sector is changing. And accordingly, the volunteer and voluntary service have to adapt to those changes. People time is not as available as used to be in the past. The question of providing any service, quality comes as an issue, that you cannot provide just a service. It has to be cost effective and it has to be quality service.
Funding is of primary concern to most national societies, and volunteers are an essential part of that process. Fundraising, image building and marketing on behalf of local, national and international campaigns rely on the services of volunteers. For this to continue, new and complementary forms of volunteering are being explored and developed. Company-sponsored employee volunteering is a new concept, creating partnerships between Red Cross Red Crescent and the commercial business world. It offers new opportunities for capacity building through staff exchanges, leadership and personnel training, and of course, sponsorship.
Most of the people in the business, they are working, they are overwhelmed of work, and often they don't see the direct results of their work. And they are very much looking for seeing concrete results in the community.
I think they're not as interested in a traditional volunteering where they're part of a very hierarchical organization and where they put into particular roles that are not theirs to create. I think people are interested in volunteering if it is more part of their self-identification and also of their self-fulfillment. We should keep in mind that volunteering is not entirely altruistic. There's always a bit of a selfish element in it, and that selfish element is what we have to use.
Reaching out and working with other organizations and institutions will not only raise the profile of Red Cross Red Crescent activity, it will inevitably attract more and younger volunteers.
We have to become much more open to other organizations and movements which are doing volunteer work at the community level, but also at the international level. And an excellent opportunity for such a closer dialogue is the International Year for Volunteers 2001. It has been initiated by the UN, and all national societies should participate actively.
If the trend of the last decade is to be reversed, more and younger volunteers need to be recruited into the national societies. The year 2001, the United Nations-initiated International Year of Volunteers, provides the movement with the opportunity to raise its profile as the largest volunteer network in the world. An opportunity not to be missed if we hope to hear from more volunteers such as these.
Es mucho más que eso, es algo que llena por dentro, es una satisfacción que no se compara ni se compra y es única y que se vive quizás solo en Cruz Roja.
Young people I think they're not perhaps materially rich, but they are rich inside and they want to share this richness with other people.
Moi j'ai une définition du bénévolat, hein. C'est mettre son humour, son humeur et son amour au service des autres. J'essaye de faire ça le mieux que je peux et j'espère y arriver. Voilà, c'est tout ce que j'ai à dire.